Hello, pre-algebra students. This is section 3 of chapter 2 where we're going to start subtracting integers. This is all you need to know to subtract integers. You add its additive inverse. Let me show you what additive inverse means. The additive inverse of positive 6 is negative 6. So if you add negative 6 to 6, that gives us 0. That's called an additive inverse. The additive inverse of negative 7 would be a positive 7. The inverse of negative 7 is positive 7. So the additive inverse property says that when you add the inverse of a number, you get 0. So we haven't changed the value. Let me show you what that looks like when you're working the problem. 9 minus 17. We're really just adding to 9 a negative 17. So if we add to 9 a negative 17, you know to subtract and keep the sign of the larger number. So 17 minus 9 is 8, and I'm going to keep it negative because 17 has a greater absolute value than 9. Here we have negative 7 minus 3. So really I'm adding negative 3. So when you add with the same sign, you just add and keep that sign. So that gives us negative 10. Alright, whoops. Find the difference. 4 minus negative 5. So the additive inverse of negative 5 is positive 5. So we're going to add the additive inverse, which is 5. In other words, two negatives here make a positive. But we're adding the additive inverse of negative 5. So we end up with positive 9 as our answer. Here we have negative 6 minus negative 2. We're going to add the additive inverse of negative 2, which is positive 2. So we have opposite signs. We subtract and keep the sign of the larger absolute value. So that gives us negative 4. So as you can see, I ended up adding positive 2, adding positive 5. So let's see if we can practice a few of these problems. I'm not going to work every one of them with you, but I'll get you started good. So here we have 9 minus 16. So we're really going to add 9 plus negative 16, which means I subtract and keep the sign of 16, which gives me negative 7. Here I'm going to say negative 5 plus negative 3. I'm going to add the opposite. And that gives me negative 8. And 7 plus, add the opposite, positive 4. And that gives us 11. Negative 6 plus, I believe that's supposed to be a negative 9, where I didn't erase from working this before. There we go. So it's plus a positive 9. So we subtract and keep the sign of the positive, which gives us 3. Alright, negative 14, we're going to add, and the opposite of 4 is negative 4, so we add the inverse, which gives us negative 18. Or, let's get where we don't have to rewrite the problem, two negatives, we actually are adding the opposite, so that makes it negative, negative makes it positive. So we get a positive 30. See how you can do that without having to recopy the problem. We're going to add a negative 8. So we have two negatives, so it stays negative and makes negative 32. Here we're going to add the opposite, makes two positives. So I'm showing you how you can work through it without having to rewrite the problem. So we subtract 45 minus, you might need to do that over here, minus 26, not 25, 26, gives us 19, making sure I did my math right. Which one is a bigger absolute value? The negative 45. 45 is farther from 0 than 26, so I keep my negative. Alright, let's start at 23. I end up adding 25, but they're opposite signs, so negative 15 plus 25, I will subtract, and that's 10, and keep the sign of the 25. I changed it to a positive. Two negatives, so we're adding positive 9, which gives us 27, adding positive 16, which gives us 40, adding positive 6, which gives us 14, adding here, but wait a minute, it's a negative 10 plus 6, so it's going to be negative 4, adding, which gives us 26. I think I'm doing that correctly. We're going to add negative 49, adding negative, so we subtract and keep the sign of the larger. So let me rewrite that one. So I'm really plus negative 49, subtract, and keep negative because 49 is farther from 0. So that gives us negative 23. We're going to end up adding those and getting positive 35. So there's a few that I haven't worked. I want you to finish and try those on your own. These 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 problems I would like to see that you have attempted on your own when I check your notes tomorrow. Have a little joke I want to leave you with today. What does 0 say to 8? He said, but have a great day.